Okay, mystery lesson tonight. We're talking about discovering spiritual gifts, and I'm just going to pray before we start. God, I just thank you so much for every single person that's here in this room, God, and just for the time and energy that they're willing to give to come to these meetings and to be a part of CYC. God, and I just pray that tonight that you will use this lesson and this test just to teach us more about ourselves, Lord, and more about you and just the way you created us, Lord. And I just pray, God, that as we go, that you would just be in this, Lord, in your name. All right. Well, the point of the lesson, here's the thing. This is a 4-week session that we do at our church, and we are breaking it down into 2 sessions. So if it feels like I'm going a little fast through it, I am, because I don't want you to be here all night, okay? And so we'll be doing session 1 and 2 tonight, and session 2 just involves taking your spiritual gifts test, and then there's just a small exercise to do at the end. And if you get done with your test earlier than anyone else, because people go at different rates, there will be snacks and drinks and stuff like that up there for you guys. And if there's like 3 people that get done and you guys want to do the exercise at the end and leave, I'm totally cool with that, because just some people take longer. So that's how the night's going to go. But first of all, point 1, some things are obviously more natural for you. I'm sure that you guys have found that over time. And the point is that those things are natural for you by design. And what I want you to do in that first box is just to pick up your pen and write your name. Now put your pen in your opposite hand and write your name in the box below. Bobby. Mm-hmm. That looks pretty bad, right? I don't know, some people can do it, but not too many. It may be legible, but it's not natural. And the point is that you are just more effective when you operate according to your design. Would you agree? By looking at that. And just think if you went through a week of having to do everything with that opposite hand, you're going to feel like so frustrated and so out of sorts and things like that. But how many of us are totally in tune with what our design is that God has gifted us with? You know, and so that's the purpose of this, is to say, hey, this is what my design is, this is what God has gifted me with, this is my personality, and on and on and on, and that way we can operate within our design. Number 2, the goal of the class is to help you discover or confirm a fruitful and fulfilling place of ministry. Yeah, it's a fruitful and fulfilling place of ministry. Oh, you are more effective when you operate according to your design. Mm-hmm. And this kind of, this kind of knowledge, it can help you through so many parts of your life, but at the same time, while you're listening and while you're learning this stuff about yourself, we really want you to think about how these things can help you be more fruitful here in your ministry at CYC. And maybe as a leader, you guys are all doing the same things. It looks like you are, but within those things that we do here, we all have different gifts, and we can all be using those to our strengths. The process of the class provides some information about spiritual gifts, and then ask you to employ. So you're employing some tools so you can become more self-aware about your gifts. And basically, the tools will focus on 3 areas. Tonight we're talking about spiritual gifts, and then on Thursday we'll go through personality, personal style, and passion. And at the end we'll wrap them all up together in one package. Did everybody get all of that?
Was the last class?
Yes. tools. Whatever you want to make it, it's okay. Alright, basically, in coming into this class, and obviously by being here at the youth center as a leader, we're making some assumptions. The first one is, our assumption is that you are a believer. Everybody has different kinds of interests and abilities. You know, people are born with a natural talent to do certain things, but only a believer has those God-given gifts, those spiritual gifts that we're talking about tonight. The other thing is that we're assuming that you're not walking in known sin. Known sin cuts off our relationship with the Lord, kind of like that hose if it's coming from the Lord to us. When we sin, we put a kink in that hose. And that applies to our gifts as well. Like if our relationship is broken with the Lord, then those gifts are not flowing into and out of us in the same way that they could be if we're right with the Lord. So that's our second assumption. The third is that you're ready to be a doer and not just a hearer. And the simple fact that you guys are sitting here tonight tells me that you are doers. I know you've given a lot to the youth center and that your heart is really with the kids. And so those are our three assumptions. With spiritual gifts, it's important to be aware of them. Does somebody want to read that verse in Corinthians underneath there?
Spiritual gifts, brethren, I do not want you to be ignorant.
When we are expected to use them. Who wants to read the next verse?
Do not neglect the spiritual gift within you. As each one has received a special gift, employ it in serving one another as is.
Now those two verses tell me, one, that we can neglect our spiritual gifts. It's very likely that we have a gift, and maybe because we don't know about it, and maybe because we don't really love our gift, we're not using it. And the second thing says that we need to use our gifts unselfishly. You know, our gifts aren't for me, what I can do. You know, as we go through them, you'll see that our gifts are intended, put in us, for the reason of serving others and blessing others. So that's really important to understand as we go forward. And then the third point, we are stewards, and we will be held accountable. Matthew 25, 14 to 30, it talks about the parable of the talents. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's a story of the man that goes away and he gives his 3 servants each a different amount of talents. And he's not upset when he comes back that they don't all have the same amount. He's just upset that one of them did nothing with what he was given. You know, and one was given 5, one was given 3, one was given 1, and he was just as happy even with the one who only had 3 because he put those talents to use. You know, and I mean, as we see, there are different people that have different gifts that maybe look like some people have more because they're the gifts that show and that people notice. So it's not about comparing them or having the most or using the most. It's just about being good stewards of what God has given us. And you'll see, I don't know, but as I went through this the first time, I was kind of surprised about some of the gifts that I had, and I was kind of disappointed sometimes, like, I wanted that gift. Why can't I get that gift? You know, but he's just asking us, be a good steward of the gifts that I've given you. So if you want to read that later, feel free to do that.